Penguin Trek is a B&M launch family coaster located at SeaWorld Orlando. Opened in 2024, this is B&M's attempt at making a coaster geared towards families. This is not their first family coaster, as they have made a couple in the past, but this specific model is the first of its kind for the Swiss company. As you're walking to Penguin Trek, you can get a preview of the ride itself. It's pretty cool to see how close the track is to Manta, the park's B&M flying coaster. It's even more awesome riding Penguin Trek while Manta is doing its thing. I like how the white track contrasts with Manta's dark blue track. Penguin Trek is located in the Antarctica section of the park, next to Journey to Atlantis and Kraken. For those who may not know, the area used to house a dark ride called Antarctica, Empire of the Penguin. It was a trackless dark ride that opened in 2013 and closed in 2020. At the time, it was considered new technology, as the ride was the first of its kind in the world. I never rode this attraction. Around that time, I only went to the park once, and that was in 2017. I was mostly there for Mako more than anything. From what I heard, it wasn't well liked and not that great of a ride, but at least the Penguin exhibit is still there, and you can still queue for it if you don't want to ride Penguin Trek. Penguin Trek's entrance is to the right of the exhibit queue. You start from the outside with a couple of switchbacks until you eventually reach the inside. As soon as you enter, you're hit with some moderate theming and a soundtrack in the background. It's not the most elaborate theming, but it works well enough. The music does help set the tone of the area, as it conveys a sense of wonder, curiosity, and excitement as you continue through the queue. Eventually, you reach a set of stairs. When you reach the top of the stairs, you can see the station below you. Walking down the stairs, you can see there's a total of 9 rows with 2 seats per row. The trains have a design similar to other manufacturers, but with that B&M touch. The seats feel comfortable, but the first issue I ran into is the restraints. When I felt how they contour to your legs, I immediately thought people with big thighs might have an issue riding this. It's a lot more restrictive than it looks. Fortunately, I didn't have an issue fitting on this ride. I'll talk more on the train later. As you leave the station, you make a left and head down the ice caverns. The theming again is moderate, and it gives the idea you are in an ice cave. You make a right and pass a large screen showing penguins. You then encounter a small drop followed by a wide left turn to an area that looks unfinished. You then hit a final left turn where you can finally see the outside. The music swells up and you are eventually launched out of the building. This is by far my favorite part of the ride. For a family coaster, this launch has a bit of a punch. Considering the max speed is 43 miles per hour, you get to the speed very quickly. You're launched to the tallest point of the ride and make a banked right turn. You drop and then rise to a series of S-curves that provide some laterals. You then approach a hill that looks like it can give some airtime, but really doesn't give anything. The next element is a turnaround. The turn doesn't do much, but what's coming next is my second favorite moment. A bank drop to the right provides some fun laterals, and the bottom gives some decent G-forces. You then rise to another meandering turnaround that takes you to the second launch. This launch is more of a gentle push compared to the first launch. When you enter the hammerhead turn, you feel a kink in the track right at the beginning of the turnaround. You can see it here in this POV. It's more noticeable near the front of the train. It's crazy to have something like this on a brand new B&M coaster, but I've noticed their newer coasters have lacked quality. I'm not sure if this can be fixed right away, but I hope a solution is found. Moving on, when you hit the hammerhead, you get some hang time near the top and then drop down to the rest of the course, which consists of a hill and a turn that takes you to the brake run. The music signals that your journey has ended on Penguin Trek. But wait, there's more. After the ride, you pass to what you think is the exit, but it's a pathway to the penguin exhibit. You pass through temperature-controlled doors and enter the lair where the penguins dwell. Depending on the time of the year, you'll see the area lit up similar to the current conditions in their usual environment. This is a cool and up-close look at the penguins, and it's clear that they are well taken care of. Afterward, you pass through another temperature-controlled door and exit towards the store. From that point on, your true Penguin Trek experience has come to an end. If you're enjoying this review, make sure to give this video a like and consider subscribing to Coasters and Travels. Your support goes a long way. What do I like about Penguin Trek? Most of the queue, the station, and the first half of the ride are inside and air conditioned. That alone is a reason to get in line. The build up to the first launch is very well done and does a good job of getting you pumped for what's coming next. The music is wonderful and does a great job of setting the mood. The launch is surprisingly good for a family coaster. It can throw you off if you are expecting a weaker launch. Because the max speed isn't that high, it gets to that speed very quickly. Finally, this coaster fills a much needed gap in SeaWorld Orlando's lineup. Now young riders have something they can step up to after Super Grover's Boxcar Derby. What don't I like about Penguin Trek? Oh boy, here we go. First of all, the restraints aren't fluff friendly. You would think a ride that has restraints similar to Intamin or Vekoma would fit a wider range of sizes, but they were a lot tighter than I expected. On one of my rides, I was in line with another person. Very nice guy, but he was on the bigger side. As we got in our seats, he was having a hard time getting the restraints over his stomach, and because of that, he couldn't ride. Of all the restraints of this style, Penguin Trek's restraints are the most restrictive, especially around the thigh area. The theming inside the cave felt a little unfinished. I think back to the original theming of Journey to Atlantis' first half and compare it to Penguin Trek's first half. It's like literally comparing Disney to Six Flags. I'm not saying I'm not grateful for what they've done, but I felt they could have put more effort in the theming. It has that trademark B&M rattle that these newer coasters seem to have. It's most apparent after the second launch and the final turnaround into the brake run. I understand this is a prototype, but it shouldn't feel like a 10-year-old coaster on opening day. Finally, my biggest dislike. You're forced to do the Penguin exhibit after every ride. During the pass holder preview, the workers opened another door so we can skip the exhibit and ride again. I haven't been since the ride opened, but I read posts of people frustrated with going through the exhibit after every ride. This had to be a major oversight in their planning of the ride. Hopefully a solution will be found in the future. Penguin Trek fills a much needed role in SeaWorld Orlando's lineup. It's a fun ride that not only kids can enjoy, but also adults and thrill seekers. Because of its gentle nature, it's very re-rideable and pretty fun as a night ride. Unfortunately, its drawbacks prevent it from being the top family coaster it could be. Hopefully the issues I addressed will eventually get taken care of. Regardless, the demographic that this coaster was designed for will love this ride, and I can see this being an overall hit for the general public. I give this coaster a rating of 3 out of 5 stars.